G'day, this is Captainoob, but this is an advanced battle rifle. This is a rifle of AR-10 design, which first originated during the 1950s, so you could potentially argue that it's law-friendly, but suffices to say, this thing is basically the grandpa of your AR-15s, your M16s and your M4s. This is its daddy, so isn't that nice? A little bit of history is tied in with this weapon, but moreover, and probably more relevantly, this thing has been inspired by the Screaming Eagle skin for the handmade rifle, which looks a little bit like this in Fallout 76. The biggest gripe that I have with that, other than the devastating irony of having a handmade rifle, right, which is... it's an AK, it's a Kalashnikov, it's a symbol of Eastern power and reliability, and Fallout 76 is like, nah, you can just throw on this Western skin on the top of it, and we won't even change the reload animations. When you reload a handmade rifle with the Screaming Eagle skin, you'll still rock the magazine in like you would with an AK, and luckily enough here, they've changed the reload animations here to more suit this particular design, but everything else appears to be the standard handmade animations, so they've done a pretty good job there. A little bit of attention to detail that Bethesda doesn't have, so good stuff there. And I also like how the sounds of the handmade as well, so keeping it more of a port, but tweaked just enough to make it make sense, and it's just a pretty good approach, and I commend them for their work thus far. There's going to be a lot of other good stuff that I'll point out with this weapon later, but having the animations, just the semi-auto animations for the handmade rifle, I don't actually like them unless I'm looking through a scope and we can ignore the animation that we get for that. But we'll get to that when we get to that. Let's just get into the attachments. And first of all, as always, we've got the receivers. Now, you'll notice it's called an advanced battle rifle. And if usually you chuck on an advanced receiver, it'll give you the advanced prefix. But right now it's actually converted, which will give us a whole lot more damage. Look at the damage difference between the powerful auto and the advanced receiver. So possibly this has just been taken from the combat rifle. That's where you get the convert from, and there you go. So you don't get an advanced battle rifle. You get a converted advanced battle rifle. What is it being converted into? Who knows, but we're going to roll with it. So right now I've got a medium barrel. You can shorten that down, make it longer, have a light version of these, which is going to increase your range. Actually, the same weight for the long light barrel and the medium barrel there. I guess you get the extra range out of that as well, though. But if you wanted to make this strictly one-to-one replica of what you'd get in Fallout 76, you just leave it on the medium barrel. But for performance sake, we're going to go for a long light barrel there. And we'll move on. Right now we've got a full stock. You can have a collapsed stock, which looks more like an M4 stock. You can extend that out. You can have a collapsed different one. We're getting slightly into the tactical regions here, but they've reeled it in pretty nicely, and they've dialed down the super tactical stuff, so I don't feel like it's over the top for those of you who don't like the super modernized tactical stuff in the game. I think this strikes a nice balance between, hey, that's plausible, but also realistic enough to make it not stand out amongst the other vanilla guns in this game. Right now, I've got a waffle magazine. You can have a quick eject version of those, either large or small, or you can throw in a Stanag magazine, either small or large with quick eject variants. We'll go on and throw on this big ass one here. Gun Nut rank 3 and Commando rank 2 required for that, so be sure to invest in your perks. So right now we've got rear glow sights. You can have them glowing, standard. Carry handles. You can also have the reflex sights as well. And there's some West-Tech scopes, which I think are the same ones that you'd find from... that's degenerate DAC stuff, right? That's that same ACOG looking scope. There's also weird scopes that have risers in them, right? So that makes sense. But it looks like the Picatinny rail has just been taken from a handmade rifle and stuck right onto that. That looks like a handmade rifle scope right there. And it doesn't really get better with the long scope. The marksman scope, however, still utilizes the Picatinny rail that you see just before you, which is interesting. I don't know why some of them have risers and some of them don't. Perhaps it's the ones that have... No, I got no idea. No input there, no comments. That's just weird. There's also recon scopes, which have slightly different colors on them with a nice blue color, but I think the best looking one is the version of the scope that doesn't have that weird riser in there, so we'll throw that on. And for a muzzle, you can have a compensator. That'll reduce your range. Improvised suppressor gives you ace operator benefits, but reduces range. Muzzle brake reduces range and recoil. Suppressor will... this one is the good one, but it'll reduce your range slightly, but increase damage to 388. Yes, please. Legendary is there if you need it. We will not be using it. And you can have a simple handguard, vented, assault, or tactical. If you throw on the tactical handguard, you'll get the attachment choice of a little bit more. So you can have a bayonet, which I think is made sort of redundant by the fact that the suppressor is protruding out further than it, but there's an option. A bipod, a flashlight, which is hidden around this side, or a VATS targeting unit, which will require a military-grade circuit board and a sensor module, and gun nut rank 4 and science rank 4, but it'll reduce your AP cost by 40%. So if you really wanted to use this thing in VATS, then go ahead and throw that one on, and then you'll be laughing. And that's it. Now, for the skins, you've got Brotherhood of Steel, Railroad, Institute, Enclave, Gunner, Black, Green, Wood, that's what we had, and also Aqua, Snow, Desert, Tropical Lightning. I think that one in itself is a skin in Fallout 76 as well. Woodland, and that's it. Let's go with Tropic Lightning. Tropic Thunder. Never go full retard. Alright, there's our battle rifle. I'll show you how to get them, and we'll make more and shoot stuff. No crafting options for this weapon exist, but post level 15 you can find it in shops and on enemies, and as you get higher in your levels, you'll find the enemies are carrying higher tier variants of this, and having a level 15 enemy carrying a weapon that does 144 damage is, that's kind of scary, so look out for those ones. Alrighty, so the massacre is about to begin, but before we start shooting, let's take a quick look at these weapons. So this one I've made automatic with the carry handle sight suppressor, and there's the animation when you're firing this thing. It doesn't really lend itself well to the rifle because you're gonna get blocked by, like, I can't even see what I'm shooting at when I've got the trigger held down. There's only possibly I guess it's the hit markers to guide where my actual aiming is. If the hit markers stop coming, then I'll find somewhere else to shoot at. There's the reload animation, so it's a little bit altered from your standard handmade rifle animation, but I noticed it and I can applaud the work. Here's one that we made on the workbench. It's got a scope. If you aim down the sights, it is a long scope, so that's great news because we won't be blocked by any of the weapons, furniture, or any misc things that are popping out, so that's good. And next, we've got this one. It's a shorter barrel, short stock, Enclave painted with a bayonet, which has its own bayonet animation, of course, because it's a handmade rifle animations. And the same thing sort of happens here, even with the reflex sight. I think it's just that front sight there. If you could just, like, I don't know, get a grinder and saw that off, I would potentially do that, because it's just kind of getting in the way. Lastly, we've got this one with the ACOG scope, which appears to be that of just a standard short scope, which is fine because this thing is going to be semi-automatic anyway. It's also got that VATS targeting module thingy on the side there, so if we want to shoot things in VATS, then this is the gun to doing that. Of course, it's got the winter paint on it as well, because I think that looks kind of cool. Anyways, let's begin. We'll start by shooting, and just like any sort of sniper weapon that we can find in this game that fires this fast, has this amount of capacity, and has the capacity to knock things down, then we're in good shape. The only problem I've got here is I don't think it's the most accurate rifle I've ever used. I'm bound to hit something firing into this big mob over here, but I don't think it's as accurate as you'd find the handmade is in this game. Whether that's unintentionally, I'm not sure. Perhaps the aim models have been moved around a little bit, but if you wanted to cheaply go and kill everyone this way, I think this is a weapon that is easily capable of doing it. And as the gunners are just crawling into slightly more effective, or our effective range, they're going to be falling a lot easier. And with this gigantic scope we've got on this thing, and whoops, I leaned over too far and I fell down. Let me just hop back up here and we'll continue. But yeah, as an effective sniper weapon, sure, you might be missing some, but with the amount of fire that you're getting out there, you're not gonna lose if you can stay nice and hidden throughout all of this. And let's continue by stealth commandoing here. It's yeah, I can't really see what I'm shooting at, so if I go over to third person, I get a much better, more consistent shot of where I'm actually going to be sending my bullets, which I can appreciate. But let's go over to something else entirely. We'll go for a more loud and proud, up close and personal approach. We've got the bayonet on this thing. I want to get at least one bayonet kill, and Are my headphones on backwards? That's really bad for the old perception stat, but we'll continue anyway, and here we go. Take this, and that. There we go. There's the crit that I wanted. And with a quick couple of follow-up shots, a few to his head, we can get the job done quite easily. I don't tend to use bayonets quite a lot, but for a full frontal assault roll, getting that quick little stagger, because at the end of the stagger, they're pretty much, well, they're stagnant. They're not moving, so you can just immediately get a couple of quick headshots on them, which I think is a pretty good tactic. And they haven't taken a lot of health from me at all, so that's great. So the ACOG scope here is not doing much that the other scope isn't doing, but we can do a little bit better in more of close range if we can't exactly see them. I used to always run short scopes on even the most long range of sniper weapons as that guy somersaults for some reason, just because I always sort of fought at closer ranges, and especially if you've got a suppressor, sometimes sniping from a couple hundred meters away, that's not going to do well for your damage numbers, so I decided just to never bother. But in versatility, we can find this thing to be pretty effective with any of these, and we can still get knockdowns with this thing, so even at close range when we're being lit up to a point where the enemies probably won't miss, we can guarantee a quick little, well, not guarantee, we can bank on it and come up with it most of the time just to proc, and then we can finish them off before they can even get up, because we've got enough damage to back this thing in to do pretty well. And even when we've got this thing automatic and we don't have all of the power from the suppressor, of course, I think this thing is still doing a reasonable job. And like, I'm feeling proper endgame for a weapon like this. Think of it as like, you've got your endgame handmade rifles, but then you have one last ditch attempt at a Western weapon to suit your endgame needs, and this thing does it in. Because we can't let the Ruskies win. That's not what we did. Oh, that's time. Right. Alright. So this one's got the minus 40%, and we can fire this thing for days. So let's do that for a little bit. Excuse me? You're getting all of these crits. More than you can handle, buddy. Could probably use this to farm crits up as well, but potentially if you wanted to, say, just sit over in this position and just VATS crit everything with 4.4 times multipliers, should you be using a suppressor, I don't think you could do too wrong with this weapon. I kind of like that a weapon or a weapon attachment of this overpowered nature, the gate to it is finding some more of the, I guess, esoteric things for it. You can't just make it out of just standard components that you'd find everywhere. You gotta really work for it, or at least go out of your way to isolate those components, because some of the time you might have had them, but if you're crafting them, they'll just get compromised. But that's a grenade launcher. Okay. Yeah, someone over there has got that grenade launcher. It sounds exactly like a... Oh, don't you bloody shoot me, mate. Okay, I'm glad that guy went down. He would have been a menace. But, yes. What was I on about? I forget what I was on about. I heard the grenade launcher. I kind of freaked out for a second. But we'll go on. And I think we'll keep the close quarters variant of this thing out, because I'm enjoying using the bayonet simultaneously with the weapon, because look at that. Especially if you land a critical as well. And nope, no staggers for me, buddy. That's not how this works. Pneumatic chest piece, get around them. And with a fresh magazine in this thing, we'll do pretty well.
Yes.
Usually they're stuck right in the corner, so I'm actually a little bit surprised they weren't in there, but we'll get the job done. I can't see what I'm shooting at. We're just probing with hit markers out there, and also damage numbers. Alright, so that was a pretty cruisy run there. I don't think I even went under Nerd Rage Special, which means we can keep a Destroyer of Acadia for another monster. We can use it to tactically get beaten up and then utilize it there. But there you have it. That there was the AR-10 Advanced Battle Rifle, and another plus to this, you can use it, you can wear it on your back with classic holstered weapons, and it works absolutely perfectly. So look at that. Isn't that awesome? You bet it is. Alright, so a quick stretch and limber because I wanted to hit E to bring the gun up, or R, sorry, to get the gun up. Well, what we're going to do instead is shoot that mutant until he dies, and then I think Swan there is finished with his friends, so we'll start lighting him up. We can knock him down with the sniper, and I think that's almost got him again. Oh, he was immune to those last couple of bullets, unless I missed, which, considering the spread that I was getting before against the gunners, I'm not entirely surprised. Then we can just slowly chip away at his health as he's coming ever so closer. We'll try to get some headshots in here. I think there's another ghoul over there. We'll take him out. And as he gets nice and close... Alright, now it's on. And instead of letting him throw rocks at me, I'm going to knock him down again. And that's completely bowled him over. All of that forward momentum sending him cartwheeling into me. Isn't that great? Alright, maybe we do a little bit of VATS hunting here. Because why not? We've got all of these shots. Every crit that pops up, I will utilize. That's a 4-leaf clover crit there. I think most of those missed because he dived behind some sort of dirt mound before I was able to do that. But just like that, we've got all of our AP back, and I hit Q for VATS because someone's been playing Fallout 76. That's my lean button in Fallout 4. And now we can send him cartwheeling into the trees there. Hopefully he'll just sort of stay put there. I think that's what he's done. They could probably win the straight-up slugging match now. Probably. There's a few deer over here. No, don't do that. Look, there's perfectly nice venison for you to eat. Eat that instead. I'm very surprised that rock still hit. That one I dodged. But we can sort of hold our own here, and he's in range now. Use the automatic version in VATS just in case. And it doesn't look like we've got a lot of... We don't even get a lot of fire out of this thing. A good 4 or 5 bursts there and we're out of AP. So that's a stark contrast to what we got earlier. But we got the job done, and it's been done fairly effectively. So I'm quite happy with how that one went. And we still haven't hit Nerd Rage yet, so maybe we'll try something else. Alright, let's try a vicious pack of ghouls that have sit down in the glowing sea because, you know, they're playing the game. They know what they're getting out of this. Infinite free healing. Yeah, you bet. Let's just knock this guy down and shoot him in the head until he dies. Okay, not quite there. I suspect his friends have figured out where I am, but we've got the power here to deal with them. That one's just on the ground, so we'll just let him do that. And we got a cheeky little stagger there, and if we can keep the hits up, I feel like we'll be in good shape to kill him without him even touching us. Okay. Okay, that one was a little bit... That's a big hit. So maybe we're just gonna VATS him a little bit. Alright, great. That worked. And with that, we'll just sidestep this ghoul piss pool, and we'll move on to the real target here, which is going to be something like even more scary. So, as you can tell, we've got a bunch of these feral ghouls that need to die. Get out of here. You're not even worth the bullet, mate. But we've got a bunch of blood bugs sitting around, including a very big one. There he is. So if we can knock him out of the game, that would be pretty unreal. I don't think that's going to be happening, but whilst he's flying in, I've got a couple of AP that I can use. No, head, please. Didn't think I'd be saying head, please, to a bloody... No, I want to shoot the head. The head! You spindly bastard! Screw it. We'll just go there anyway. I don't think we can get sniper knockdowns on this guy just quietly. So we're in a bit of strife here, because if he decides to attack, then we're in Nerd Rage, and as they say, up shit creek without a paddle. A quick little burst in VATS will do us pretty well there, but he's going to be coming after me with the greatest of aplomb. So back into the ghoul piss pool we go. And we're going to need some desperate regeneration out of this, please. Nope. Far be it from me to let a good physics cartwheel death get cut out, so we'll just try this again. And we're going to rig the deck in my favor a little bit this time, and here's what we'll do. First of all, we'll start off with a couple of criticals on those guys. Don't have to worry about any else. But then we're going to immediately target the big fella, and then we're going to crit, enter gunfu, and sneak criticals, and VATS criticals, and a little bit of proper range getting there. And now we can get this guy knocked down for as long as we want. That's very good news. We actually got a couple of really easy, cheap knockdowns, although he is on his way now. So we'll activate the good old-fashioned trap card in the form of some feral ghouls there. And there we go. Looks like that's worked out pretty well. And whilst he's messing around with the ferals, we'll try to get him knocked down again. And never mind, that's not going to work. We got a quick little knockdown there on him, so we'll try to just fill him with all of the lead, and just like that, I've defeated him. Not gonna lie, that took me like 10 tries to do. This guy right here, only the strongest of weapons can possibly do it. You have to do a little bit of shithousing with stacking lots of rifleman sniper knockdowns and otherwise stealth commandoing. But to do that in the broad of daylight for a weapon that doesn't do anything special other than throw lead down range with a superior than normal damage numbers, I'd say it's done a pretty good job there as we sit in his pistol. Probably don't stand in that because I wouldn't exactly call them boots. You could probably get... You don't even know what's in that water. I definitely would not step in that. But anyways, that there was the advanced battle rifle, and it's really strong, but I don't feel like it's overpowered. I mean, you could argue that it's overpowered, but for a very end game approach where the handmade rifle isn't quite doing it for you, this thing has the power that you need, added with the lore friendliness, and perhaps if you're a fan of this Screaming Eagle setup in Fallout 76, then you'll feel like you're right at home with this particular weapon. So, yeah, recommend this thing download. Probably a little bit hefty on the size for an Xbox user, but I'm sure there's going to be a few updates in the future that will slightly bring that down to make it more of a manageable and sustainable weapon mod to have on your console. So thank you very much for watching. Links in the description if you want it. I'll see you next time.